guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Brianna, and today for this week's little reading vlog, we are going to be reading only Book of the Month books. Disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. I am not being paid to read Book of the Month books. I pay for my own Book of the Month subscription. I have for like a year and a half now at this point. I honestly love my Book of the Month selection because I feel like it helps me find books that I usually wouldn't see otherwise, and there's usually a lot of new releases, so I just think it's great. Plus, if there's not a book that catches my eye, I do have the option to skip the month, so obviously that's nice to have as well. I have had some books from Book of the Month on my TBR for a while, and I've also been getting some add-ons recently, so I have a little stack of Book of the Month books that I really want to get to. I have probably loved like 90% of the books I've gotten through Book of the Month for the last year and a half, so I have very high hopes for these books that we're going to read in today's video. The first book I have picked out to read in today's video is Wild Dark Shore, and this is one that just came out. This was my March pick. It says Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. Home to the world's largest seed bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the salts are now its final inhabitants. Until during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the salts, but they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength. It begins to feel like she might just be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater, and when she discovers sabotaged radios and freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they all must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late, and if they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. It says this is a novel of breathtaking twists, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love. Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. So I think it's supposed to mostly be like a contemporary fiction, but with some thriller and mystery aspects to it. From the few people I've seen reviews on about this book, they have been raving about it, and they said to have tissues nearby. That's all I need to know, that it's gonna be a good book. If a book can make me cry, it's a good book. So this is what we're gonna start with. I feel like it's a little backwards because this is the book from Book of the Month that I have had the least amount of time, but I am just really intrigued by it and just in the mood for this right now, I guess. So let's get reading. Do I like this? I don't know. Alrighty guys, I am just coming in with a little reading update quick. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Not sure what's going on with my mic, but yeah, hopefully you can hear me and the sound is okay. I have been reading Wild Dark Shore for a little while today. My cats went to the vet today and they got shaved, which you're probably like, why do you shave your cats? Their fur gets very matted, and we like brush them out and everything, but just like laying on it and stuff, it could get matted, and then you can get like a skin infection under those mats. So obviously we don't want that happening to our cats. And also, I swear they're just different cats when they're shaved. Like, they're so much less grumpy. I don't know. Maybe that's all in my head, but I think they act differently. But they are kind of cold today, so we have been snuggling in bed together. I've been reading, and my cats have literally like tucked themselves in under the blankets in bed because they're cold. Spice is like, hold on. Can you, oh, move that. Spice is like, what is going on right now? She's like, what are you doing, Mom? But Wild Dark Shore, let's get into that. I've just been yapping about my cats. I'm on page 100 exactly, actually. There's not really like chapter numbers. You just kind of switch the chapter once you change perspective, because there are 5 different POVs that we're reading, I think. Mostly Rowan, who is the girl who washed up on the shore, and Dominic, who is like the dad of the 3 kids. And then you see the 3 kids' POVs throughout as well. Spice, what are you doing? I really don't even know what all to say because I don't want to give anything away because there is a mystery going on here. Like, why is Rowan here? Why was she going wherever she was going? How did she end up here? And what is she gonna do now that she is here? Like, she wants to leave, but there are reasons why she can't really leave yet. So we're seeing her interact with all these family members. Dominic, not a big fan of her because he's like, this random woman just washed ashore. She seems a little suspicious, like why she's here, her reasonings for that. And Rowan is like asking the kids things about the island, what they're doing here, and just like asking a lot of questions. And clearly she knows stuff about this island, but not like everything about it. So the kids are like, this is a little bit weird that she knows these things, but she seems cool, so like we're gonna get along with her. It is very, very immersive writing. Like, I feel like I am the one on this island walking around, seeing the things that they're seeing, doing the things that they're doing. I love an immersive book like that because you can literally just escape reality then. Like, do I feel like I'm reading in bed with my cats? No. I feel like I am Rowan, like on the beach, washed up ashore. I feel like I am her laying in bed, like feeling terrible because she's literally been in like a shipwreck. I feel like I am walking the shore and like seeing these things with the children. I was gonna say kids, but 2 of them are teenagers. They're like 17 and 18, and then there's a 9-year-old. So there's hold on. Pumpkin, oh, you guys can't see. Pumpkin is tucking herself in. Hi, baby. Okay, just thought I'd show you that because she's cute. So I'm loving how immersive it is. I am loving the overall mystery to it. I'm like, what is going on? Because there's some things that have been answered, but definitely not everything, and I want to know everything. I also think there are some very important topics being discussed in this book because, like I told you earlier, in the synopsis, they kind of talking about having these seeds. So these seeds are very crucial to the world because they literally store seeds there for any and every plant so that if the stuff is wiped out, then they have seeds here and they store it here because of the permafrost. But even that is like kind of an issue because with the climate, the permafrost is deteriorating. So definitely like important nature topics being discussed in this as well. I do think it's gonna make me think for a hot minute. But that's probably where I'm going to end off reading this tonight. I am probably gonna get it finished tomorrow. My husband gets his wisdom teeth taken out tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna be like in a waiting room or in a recovery room for a little while tomorrow. So I plan to bring this with and read this while he is having surgery, and then also plan on reading it while he is like recovering at home. So I am 99% sure I will finish this tomorrow, so I'll see you back with an update tomorrow. Hi guys, we are breaking out the mini mic today because my husband is currently sleeping and I don't want to talk like too loud, so hopefully the mic sounds okay. I don't know, there's like a pop-up. I don't even know if it's connected. We'll see when I watch this footage back. So yesterday was a really busy day. My husband got his wisdom teeth out. We had to leave home at like 9:30 a.m. and then we didn't get home until about 1 p.m. And then I was really just like taking care of him, making sure he was okay, doing all that wisdom teeth recovery stuff with him. And that's why he's currently sleeping right now. And it's like 11:30 a.m. and I am exhausted, but I did end up finishing Wild Dark Shore yesterday. I didn't like give you an update yesterday because I was just reading throughout the day as my husband was resting, and then I finished it probably at like 10 o'clock last night, which our sleep schedule is whack now. Just because like having to get up and take meds and all that jazz, just like a sleepy day for him yesterday, a sleepy day for him today. So I'm very tired. I might have to take a nap, but I got a good bit of it read yesterday, like in the waiting room at the doctor's office, waiting for him through surgery and recovery, and then when we got home, it was a little chaotic, so I didn't really get time to read more until later last night. So that's how I finished it at like 10 o'clock last night. It's only 300 pages. It might be like 290 some pages, honestly. I don't remember exactly. So a fairly quick, short book. You guys, I loved this one. I gave it a 4-star rating. You continue to follow like 5 main POVs of Rowan and then the family that lives and works on the island, and why Rowan is there, what she's looking for, and then kind of what this family is hiding. Obviously, I can't give you too much detail because it's a mystery. Like, if I say too much, then it wouldn't be like as big of a surprise. And I do feel like while the plot twist didn't like wow me, there were other aspects around that plot twist that did a little bit, if that kind of makes sense. So, like, there were smaller twists, and I feel like those smaller twists throughout really got me. I was like, what? No way. Whereas, like, I feel like what was trying to be the main big plot twist of the book, main reveal of the book, I was like, okay, like, am I surprised? Yes, but I'm not like flabbergasted, which is fine. You don't need to be flabbergasted every single book that you read. I still love this book. I think it is so interesting how much I loved all the characters and felt like we got to really connect with them and see a lot of their character growth and development because there are so many POVs. Because usually when I read a book with this many POVs, I feel like I just can't really like any of the characters. I can't feel a connection to them whatsoever because we don't really get enough time and like get enough of their emotional depth as a character because you're switching POVs so many times. But this book like perfected the multiple POVs because I felt everything these characters were feeling in their POVs. And also, this book was so action packed. Like, there was literally something happening to these characters in every single chapter. It did not slow down whatsoever. It was such a atmospheric read. Kind of touched on this in my first update on this, where I said it's very immersive, and I still feel that it's very immersive because it's so atmospheric. Like, the way that the author goes into description, but not like in a boring textbook way, but just in a really beautiful way, honestly. Like, the way she describes nature and the animals and just everything about this island, I was like, I can see it so vividly in my head, and I feel like I am there, and I loved that. I will say I didn't cry at this book. I got a little teary-eyed, but it wasn't even at like the part where I feel like more people were saying they cried, like right at the end of the book, but it was a little bit before the end of the book where I was like getting a little teary eyed, a little emotional. This is such an amazing read. I do feel like it is very thought provoking because, again, they're on this island where they have this seed vault, like a seed for every single plant in the world, so that if something were to happen to the world, they can replant and try and rebuild. But now they're having to get off the island because it's not safe to live there anymore. It's flooding. So it just makes you think about the state of our world. There were definitely some sad moments for sure, but not so sad that made me bawl my eyes out. I would definitely recommend this one. Thank you, Book of the Month, for picking this book as one of the options because it was definitely a good option. Then this morning, I started just like 2 chapters, I think, of You Between the Lines, which this was my add-on for February. It wasn't like one of the monthly picks, but I got a free add-on for my birth month. And this is I don't really know if it's like a contemporary romance, but people have said it's kind of like Beach Read by Emily Henry because in this one, the 2 main characters, Lee and Will, are like rivals to lovers, I think it's going to be, because they are both writers and they actually know each other from high school, but they kind of stopped getting along because I think Will was like critiquing Lee's writing. Wait, did I even say they're both writers? You guys, I don't know. My brain is all over the place. I'm so tired. Okay, so Lee and Will are both writers, and they are both in this MFA program now together. So they know each other from high school, but now it's been 10 years, and they end up crossing paths again because they're in this program together. But Lee doesn't like Will because of the way that he critiqued her writing in high school. So I don't know, like, I think that Will likes Lee, but obviously Lee doesn't like Will because of the past. So it'll be interesting, like, what kind of brings them together. And I just love
the rivalry, honestly. But this cover is so pretty. I love this cover. I love the color. I love the flowers. It just screams springtime. So I just wanted something a little bit lighter after finishing Wild Dark Short because it's definitely a heavy book. So yeah, I will let you know how this book is going after a little while longer. Okay, guys, coming in with a quick reading update is the next day. I feel like that has been becoming a theme in my reading vlogs where I just always come in the next day and give you an update. And yeah, I don't really know what that's about. But yesterday, I ended up taking a very good nap, very much needed. And then I got to page 213 after taking that little nap. So again, I needed that nap yesterday. I thought I would just give you a little bit of an update and then I'll give you like my full thought and review at the end since I don't have too much left. I only have, well, I probably have like 140-ish pages left. But it's been a very fast pace. Like I was able to get through 200 pages pretty quickly, pretty easily. It is such beautiful writing because it is a book about these bookish people like going to school for books, for poetry and for writing. So the writing in this book is just very poetic and we get to see the poems that the characters are writing and these short stories and just like glimpses into essays and stuff that they're writing, and I have been loving it. I love Will. Like, you can tell that he has not stopped thinking about Lee since high school, and now it's been 10 years since high school. So, like, the pining, but also they're so frustrating because they're like, we just need to focus on grad school because, like, this is a big deal. And there's also these, like, I don't know what they're called, but they're, like, very famous in the literary world in this book, I guess. So Lee and Will both want to do really, really well in their classes so that they would basically have these really big famous people as their mentors, per se, I guess. I also love how much background and how much just emotional depth we're getting to the characters as well. Like, it's not just a fluffy rom-com. Like, there is so much more depth to these characters, what they're going through in their lives, very hard things, very real things. With Lee, it's with her parents. Well, and with Will, it's also with his parents, but mostly his dad. But they both kind of have some trauma there. Some things they're having to work past, and then they're also trying to perform extremely well in grad school for this MFA. So it's like they don't really want to get their feelings tangled up. Lee still isn't really sure how she feels about Will because of the way that things have been in the past, but Will is like, I'll never forget you, like you've never left my mind. Oh, I love it so much. Like, we are getting some good pining from Will, so I am probably just gonna try and finish up this book quick this morning. Okay, guys, I just finished You Between the Lines, and look at Spice. I'm giving you the update on the same day. I already touched on this a little bit earlier, but this is so much more than just a cute romance. I mean, don't get me wrong. Is it cute? Yes. Do I love the male main character and what he's doing with the female main character? Yes. Like, the things he says, the things he does, it is all perfection. The way he is able to articulate his feelings for her because he's literally a poet. So, like, his words are poetry to her when he's just talking to her casually. And it's like, okay, I would fold so fast. But there is so much more depth to these characters, and the character growth and development throughout this book is insane. If you hear anything in the background, it is my cat playing with a toy, so I'm sorry. We are reading this story through Lee's POV, and she definitely has internal struggles, just the way that she views herself and the way that she's kind of scared everyone else will view her. Like, she very much worries about everyone else's opinions about her and her work, and she basically just tries to be a people pleaser. She tries to write what she thinks people want to hear rather than truly writing for herself and truly being herself around all these other people. So seeing her kind of break out of that shell and be true to herself and kind of like accept herself, why she is the way she is, and really see that she's been acting, I don't want to say like totally narcissistic, but when, you know, let's just say people do something and it frustrates her, but then she is like, oh my gosh, what if they're doing this thing because they hate me and they hate my work and all that. And I feel like that is something I really struggle with as well. Like, I am definitely a people pleaser. It is very, very hard for me to say no. I often do find myself just telling people what I think they want to hear rather than speaking my true voice and opinion on the matter. So I can very much relate to Lee. And then another big part of Lee's story throughout the book is that her parents are going through a divorce, and while she is in her late 20s and they're getting a divorce, I also have divorced parents, and just some of the internal struggles she has with that, with feeling like she wasn't enough to save their marriage. I had also felt like that most of my life. I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's just how I deal. And that is such a real thing to feel. So I just love everything that the author was able to tackle in this book within these characters. I loved the love story. Bill is such a softie. He's such a cinnamon roll. Like, again, he has been pining after Lee for a decade. And Lee is able to see after a while that they both truly can see each other. Like, Lee knows that Will can see right through her when she's writing all of this stuff that just is not her. And he's like, just be you. That's all I want. All I want is you. And it's just, my heart. Once again, I loved the writing. It was all beautiful. The dialogue was beautiful because, again, they're poets. Like, everything they say to each other is just stunning. The ending was so cute. And yeah, I just loved it. I think I'm gonna go with a 4, maybe 4.5 star rating, because really, I loved it. I was a little bit annoyed with Lee at sometimes, but then it's like, okay, girl, you're literally annoyed with yourself because that is how you act. So it helped me open up my eyes a little bit, but definitely overall loved it and would overall recommend it. Such an amazing add-on option for Book of the Month. I'm pretty sure it's still available as an add-on, so you should definitely add this one to your next box. And now let's go start the next book. Alright, you guys, it is getting a little later in the day. I'm probably just gonna get ready for bed and then hang out with my husband for the rest of the night. So I wanted to give you an update on the Wedding People that I started earlier. I think I'm like 110 pages in. You can kind of see how far that is. And this is definitely the slowest book so far of today's video. And not like slow in a bad way, just taking me more time to just digest and kind of process the words that I am reading. This book is about Phoebe, who, she's not having a good life, you guys. I mean, it was going well, but then it was not. There was the pandemic, her husband was having an affair, so she's going through this divorce. So Phoebe has now booked a hotel room at this very, very fancy hotel, one that she's dreamed about staying at for quite a few years now because she lives in the Midwest, and this is, where is this, Rhode Island? Yes, Rhode Island, and she just has always wanted to visit here. But she decides that she is going to visit this hotel that she's been dreaming about staying in order to kill herself there. Very, very heavy. Obviously, we have trigger warnings of depression and suicide. When she gets to the hotel, though, she discovers that there is actually a huge wedding going on, and she ends up running into the bride. The bride's like, hey, if you're not here for the wedding, what are you doing here? And Phoebe is like, well, I'm here to kill myself. And the bride is like, no way, you can't do that. Like, this is my wedding week. You can't kill yourself here where my wedding is. And Phoebe's like, okay, she's just like an entitled rich brat. That's not going to stop me from killing myself. But as she talks with the bride more and just like, I don't know, it just really helps Phoebe open herself up and kind of put a new perspective on anything. She's like, do I really want to kill myself? But again, at this point, Phoebe feels like she has nothing to live for anymore. So in the first 100 pages, we've seen Phoebe show up at the wedding. We see Phoebe's backstory with her husband, what led them to the divorce. So a lot of background on Phoebe's character and what got her to this point. And now she's just interacting with more of the people there at the wedding that she's meeting at the hotel. So obviously a very devastating premise. Obviously I hope it has like a happy outcome. Obviously I do not want anyone to kill themselves, fictional or in the real world. This has been a little bit of a tough read for me today just because I have been feeling a little bit blue. So reading about someone who is also struggling like with depression and, you know, to the point where they want to kill themselves, that has been a little bit hard to read. I wouldn't say that's why it's been slow though. I mean, yes, I am reading the words and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy, but I feel like it's more so the writing style that I'm not in love with. It feels very structurally clunky, I guess is the word that I would use. Like, it's just words being thrown and like bounced around off of each other, and I'm like, I don't really like this. The overall story I'm liking, so I'm hoping that me enjoying the story will overall, you know, like take away from the clunkiness of the writing for me personally. But yeah, that's my little update on The Wedding People. I will probably see you tomorrow when I pick this up and read some more. Alrighty, The Wedding People has been finished, and this was one from Book of the Month that I definitely needed to get read in this video because this is my August 2024 Book of the Month, so like 7 months ago at this point, and I was really excited for this at the time that it came out, but then when I didn't read it right away, and I was like, okay, it's not really on my radar anymore, so I'm definitely glad I got to it in this video. A little bit more of an update. I'm trying to remember kind of where in the story I left off with the first update, but really you are just continuing to follow Phoebe as she is doing more with these wedding people, like the bride, the wedding party, the groom, getting to know them and really like taking on a new perspective with life and kind of trying to like step into a new life, because her whole life she's kind of felt like boxed up and like, okay, this is what I have to do. But now she is like wanting to take a step forward and do something outside of this box that she's lived in her whole life, and I do find that really, really inspiring. There is a mix of a lot of stuff in this book. It's not just all sad and depressing. I would honestly say like it is pretty uplifting overall. Like, definitely not a sad book, not a book that I cried over, not a book, I don't know, that just like makes my heart feel heavy. Like, at times, yes, there were sad things being discussed and talked about with the characters. All these characters have kind of went through their own trauma and grief, and that is touched upon, but overall, like, I think it's really heartwarming what is happening in this book. I was talking a little bit how I felt the writing was kind of clunky. I wasn't really like loving the book until I would say about 50% through the book. I was like, okay, this is kind of picking up. I'm really like interested to hear more about Phoebe's life and now what she's doing with the wedding people, and I was just really appreciating Phoebe and her character a little bit more than I was in the beginning of the book. That being said, there were definitely some other characters in this book that I did not like, that annoyed me most of the time that we were reading about them. And also the ending, like, not like the ending, but some things toward the end I wasn't the happiest about. I get why they kind of needed to happen for the story and for Phoebe's character growth and development, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, why? I do overall think the message of the book, like looking at life through a new lens, is very beautiful. And I do think that I related to probably several of the characters in different ways. Obviously, I love when an author can write several characters and you're able to connect with all of them so deeply, because there are a lot of characters that you're kind of following with Phoebe and getting to know. And I feel like I was able to connect with them. They weren't just like some distant character that I didn't really care about. Like, at the end of the book, I was like, I care about those characters. Like, how are they doing? I am going to go with a 3.5-star rating on this one. I did like the story overall, but definitely the writing style was not my favorite, and I did find it hard to read at times. I found some things quite boring, a lot of filler, but overall I did like it. And then I ended up giving You Between the Lines a 4.5-star rating. I really loved this one. And with Wild Dark Short, I went with a 4-star rating. This was another amazing fiction thriller. Honestly, I feel like kind of psychological book. So there you have it, folks. I definitely liked, even loved all of these books that I read for today's video. So Book of the Month definitely did a good job for me. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more book content. And please feel free to comment any videos that you'd like to see from me in the future. And I will see you next time. Happy reading. Bye!